Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing now with a very interesting halacha that has to do with mimetzoch efzecha v'daber davar. We know that based upon the pasuk that we read, actually it's Haftarah on Kippur, and when we speak about mimetzoch efzecha means that we are only allowed to do things which have to do with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and not with other mundane things on the Shabbat. Mimetzoch efzecha, chafatzecha is going to be asurim, obviously cheftzeh shamayim is going to be mutarim. V'daber davar, that's one of the isurim av amira legoy. V'daber davar means that you have to speak in things to do with the Shabbat, and I'm not allowed to tell a goy to do a melacha on Shabbat because that's v'daber davar. I have to speak dibur of Shabbat and not dibur of chol. One of the interesting things that we speak about in mimetzoch efzecha is to do with paying attention what's happening on our property. What does that mean? If right now we have a property and we are doing shiputzim, we're renovating, or I have a store and I want to check what is lacking. In all those cases, it is going to be prohibited for me to go on Shabbat to this place in order to check what is lacking, how are the renovations going, what do I need, or for example, to see the inventory, what is lacking. All those things is going to be asur on Shabbat because of mimetzoch efzecha. They will only be permitted if it's not going to be recognizable what you're doing. Because if it is not recognizable that you're going to see this, so then that becomes hirurim mutarim, which means we know that on Shabbat you're not allowed to speak about business, right? That is v'daber davar. However, though, anything which is in your mind is permitted. There is still a mitzvah not to think about business on Shabbat, but we sing it in the songs hirurim mutarim, right? If it says in the song Baruch Elyon, so then it's mutar, right? It's a song mefurash, but it's actually Shulchan Aruch as well. The Shulchan Aruch brings down also anything that you have in your mind is actually permitted mitzad mi'ikar adin. There's obviously better than that not to think at all about business on Shabbat, but mitzad halacha, if a person is going to start thinking about his business on Shabbat, he's permitted. So the same thing, anything which is not recognizable is permitted. So now where does this actually put into effect? Where does it play into effect? For example, there's an open house, and I'm interested in buying a house. So I'm walking on the street, I see an open house. Am I allowed on Shabbat to go inside? I would have thought, listen, at the end of the day, what am I doing? I'm going into a house. I'm not signing anything, right? But even if I do, I'm not going to sign. I'm not doing anything. So what's the isur? I'm just walking inside of a property and I'm looking because I'm interested in buying. So the halacha is that it's going to be prohibited. Why? Which means that I cannot come in and start doing things which is going to be the mundane actions because that's going to be prohibited on Shabbat. So going inside would be prohibited. Another thing which is going to be prohibited would be makshichin sof atchum, which means, for example, let's say I have to go to wherever it is, Orlando, wherever, and now all of a sudden there's a bus, and the bus is leaving right after Shabbat. So I cannot go towards the end of the tchum of Shabbat, wait there, and then the second that Shabbat is finished, I'm going to take off, or I'm going to go, right, and take the bus. Because at the end of the day, since it's a recognizable act, what I'm doing, it is prohibited because of mimetzoch efzecha. If it's not recognizable, then it's going to be permitted because then again, it's going to be like hirurim. So for example, let's say it's raining, right? And now you go on a bus stop. So now it's not recognizable anymore that you're waiting for a bus. It's going to be the first bus that's coming out. Now all of a sudden what happens is that what I'm thinking in my mind is, 1 second, really it could be that maybe Be'emet that's what he's doing. But since it's not recognizable, it's going to be permitted. Or for example, my friend is selling his house. So now all of a sudden I go to his house and I'm going to give him a visit. Now while I'm already visiting, I'm looking around, seeing what the inventory is, seeing what it is. So there, since it's not recognizable, it is going to be permitted. So the general rule is anything which is going to be recognizable that you're doing for an isur, it's going to be a sur on Shabbat to go and to look for it, to go to look at it, whether it's the renovations or all those things. And anything which is not recognizable, it's going to be permitted on the Shabbat to do.